Hey guys, today we're going to be doing a beginner stability ball workout. We're going to work all parts of the body and it is accessible for everyone. So let's go ahead and grab our ball and make our way onto our mat. We're going to place our belly down on the ball, come onto the toes. Now some of your knees might be able to touch the floor and your hands. That's totally cool. For the rest of us, maybe just the toes touch down on the ground. We're going to lift the left leg and then reach the right leg and left arm up nice and high. Opposite arm, opposite leg. Lower down and lift up. Now if this is too challenging, you can keep your hands on the floor and just lift the legs, maybe the hand second. So lift and lower. We're using our core here, using our stability, our balance, our mobility, but we have a little bit of support with the ball. So it kind of helps to build that foundation so that we can do this stuff very easily without the ball. Lift and lower. Still working that entire back chain. Our fascia. Last 3. Last 2. And 1. Nice job. Let's come down. Okay, so for this next one, you're going to take hands on the ball. Hands are going to be about shoulder width distance wide. And you really want to kind of push away from the ball, make sure the shoulders are away from the ears. We're going to do this exercise on our knees. So kind of let the hips come forward a little bit. We're going to push down and then rise up. So little push-ups on the ball. On this incline, it's a little bit easier, but because the balancing is here, we're really firing up all those muscles. Try to keep the elbows close into the sides for now. We're getting a little bit more into the triceps here. Try to keep those shoulders away from the ears. Nice, and then let's turn our hands a little wider apart, elbows out towards the sides, lower down, and lift, a little more challenging. We're squeezing that ball. Nice job, lower down and lift for 3, last 2, and 1. Awesome. Let's go ahead and take our ball. We're going to head towards a wall. Now, if you don't have a wall, if you have a chair or something that you can put the ball against, you'll just be doing regular squats on the ball. For those of us that have a wall, we're going to place that ball against the wall and do some squats. Now, the reason why I really like this for beginners is because you have something to support you so that you can get really nice and deep in those hips. So hands can be wherever you'd like them to be. We're going to lower down. Maybe try to see if you can get those hips in line with the knees. If not, maybe move those feet a little bit further forward, sit that booty back. Squeeze the booty to come up. Lower down and lift. Use that ball for support here so that you don't feel like you're going to fall backwards. And the weight is in the heels and you're squeezing those glutes. This really helps us get that nice proper squat alignment that we need to make sure that we don't hurt our knees or our low back. Think about drawing those inner thighs towards each other. Really squeeze that booty at the same time. Lift and lower. Rise up. Sink it down nice and low. You got this. Last 3. Last 2. And 1. Sink it down nice and low. And then let's go ahead, rise back up. And this time we're going to go ahead and come down on our knees. Place that ball right up against your body. We're going to roll out so that our hands are on the ground nice and firmly, and our toes are just barely touching the floor. So our whole hips are nice and supported. It's okay if your toes touch. We just don't want them to be totally off the floor, and we don't want your knees to be bent, so legs nice and straight. From here, all we're going to do is we're going to squeeze the booty and lift the feet nice and high. Lower and lift. Now, it doesn't have to be too much of a lift. What I don't want is you to fling your legs up nice and high because you've got that bouncy ball underneath you. You're just using those glutes to lift the legs up and down. We're squeezing the booty. We're not using that low back to hoist the legs up. Notice how my low back here stays nice and flat. I'm just squeezing that tush to lift the legs up nice and high. Squeeze the booty. You don't even have to really lift the toes. You can feel that squeeze, that engagement of the core as you lift your legs up nice and high. Lift and lower. You got this. Squeezing those booty. You got it. Nice job for 3. Last 2. And 1. Awesome. Let's come on up. We're going to go ahead and have a seat on our ball. We're going to turn our toes out, and our heels are going to be in. Rise up and make sure that that ball is right in between your inner thighs. We're going to squeeze as we rise up. Squeeze those inner thighs. Lower down. Lift up and squeeze that ball. So all we're doing is we're using that ball to engage our inner thigh muscles. Squeeze and lower. Ignite those inner thighs. You got it. Nice job. Squeeze and lower. Knees in towards the ball. Use that inner thigh. Act like you're riding a horse and you gotta squeeze that saddle. Nice job. Squeeze and lower. Lift and down. Nice job. You got this for 3. Last 2. And 1. Lift it up and squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Beautiful. Let's come all the way down onto our back and bring that ball with you. We're gonna roll all the way down onto our spine. Take a little break here. Take those heels on the ball. Hands are down by the sides. Now your hands normally in a glute bridge raise. Your hands aren't too vital, but because we have the ball, I want your hands out nice and wide and ground those hands down to the floor. Dig those heels into the ball. Lift your hips up and lower. Nice. Lift up and lower. Drive those inner thighs towards each other. They don't have to touch, but they have to be talking to each other. You don't want your knees to splay out as you rise up. You want to keep the knees parallel to each other. You're squeezing that booty as you lift and lower. Rise up and down. You got this. Doing a lot of booty today. Lift and lower. You got this. For 3. Last 2. And 1, rise up, lower down. Let's come all the way back onto our knees and bring that ball with us. We're gonna go ahead and roll out onto our thighs again, onto our hips, Hands firmly planted down, toes light on the floor. We're gonna rise up. This time we're gonna click the heels together and lower down. Use the booty, squeeze, legs together and down. Rise up, heel click, lower. You got it. We're working that booty. Working that space where our booty meets our thighs, keeping everything nice and lifted. Nice job. You got this. Lift, click the heels and lower. Working the inner thighs too here. Rise up, click the heels, come down. You got this. Find those nice deep breaths. And this time we're gonna lift and just click those heels together. Keep clicking, squeeze that booty, squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. For 3, last 2, and 1. Let's come to standing. We're gonna go back to our wall squats, but this time, unfortunately, I'm gonna make you hold it. So, feet a little farther away from you, toes slightly out, heels slightly in. We're gonna lower it down, find the hip in line with the knees if it feels okay on your knees. If that's too much on your low back, just rise up until you find a spot that's comfortable. Otherwise, sink it down, and we're gonna hold. Hands can be wherever you would like. Maybe you're holding weights. If you're crazy like that, sink those hips down nice and low. Now let's find that engagement. Feel the booty igniting here. Feel the legs shake. Find those nice deep breaths. Squeezing everything in nice and tight. Those inner thighs squeezing towards each other. Everything is ignited. Feel that booty. Core is pulled in towards the ball. Squeeze everything in nice and tight. Can you sink it down a little bit lower for the last 5? Last 4. 3, 2, and 1. Nice job. Rise up. Let's take that ball. And once again, let's come back into our plie squat. So toes out, heels in slightly. Stand up nice and tall, squeeze that ball, and then lower it down if you want a little more. Bring the heels in towards the ball. Rise up and squeeze. Lower and lift. Squeeze that ball. As if you're trying to pop that ball with your inner thighs. Squeeze and lower. Nice job. Lift up and down. You got this. That nice inner thigh core engagement. The inner thigh muscles are tightly related to our pelvis muscles, so this will help make sure your pelvis is in the right space, in line with your back and shoulders, working on our posture, working on those nice defined inner thighs. Lower and lift. Nice job. A few more here. Squeeze and down. For 3. Lower and 2. One more time. Squeeze here. And we're going to hold tiny pulses. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Keep it going. Last 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Beautiful. All right, let's come down onto our back. And we're gonna come into those glute bridges, but this time I have a little extra fun in here for you. We're gonna drive those heels into the ball. Hands nice and firmly down in the ground so that we can make sure that we have stability. We're gonna lift those hips up nice and high, roll the legs out, roll them back in, lower the hips down. Rise up, extend, bring them back, and lower. Nice job. You got this. Out, in, and down. Lift up, and out, and in. You got this. Squeeze that booty as you move through. Lift, out, in, down. Last time. Up, out, in, and down. Beautiful. All right, let's go ahead and get working on our lower or our upper body option to take your weights here if you need to, or if you'd like to. You can do all of this without weights, and it'll be just as good as a workout. We're gonna go ahead and kind of either come onto your toes or come onto your knees. Now, if you have your weights, you're gonna go ahead and pull your elbows in close to the sides. If you don't have your weights, you're just gonna squeeze your shoulder blades together. That's all you're gonna do here. Squeeze the shoulder blades and then lower back down. Squeeze and bring it back together. You got it. Now, sometimes it's even better without the weights because you have those shoulder blades pulling back towards each other. Maybe sometimes the weights makes it a little more challenging and you start to round forward. So we wanna make sure that that back is nice and straight and we're just pulling our shoulder blades together. Nice job. Squeeze them in and down. Together and lower. Last 3, last 2, and 1. Let's go ahead, grab those weights. This time we're gonna roll backwards until our arms are nice and supported on the ball. We're gonna bring our hands in and down. Now what's happening here is our elbows are supported on the ball, so we're kind of getting an incline bicep curl, forcing that bicep to be isolated here. Lower and lift, squeeze everything together. You got this. Having that nice stability of the ball, elbows resting, elbows kind of towards each other, parallel to towards each other. You're lowering all the way down, fullest extension here of those arms. Rise back up. Make sure there's no pain in the elbows if there is less of an extension on those arms. For 3, last 2, and 1. Nice job. Let's go ahead, roll it over onto our back. Bring those weights with you. And from here, we want to make sure that our head and neck and shoulders is firmly down onto the ball. We're going to bend those elbows and then reach the arms up nice and high. Elbows stay stacked on top of the shoulders, and my hips stay lifted. I'm not drooping down. I'm keeping everything nice and flat as if I'm laying on a bench. Nice job. Lift and lower. You got this. For 3, last 2, and 1. We're gonna go ahead and take those arms up overhead, thumbs towards each other. Think about making a giant C with your arms, pinkies together. Come all the way out and all the way together. Now, the more farther away and towards the floor your hands are, the harder this will be. The more your hands are up towards the ceiling, it'll be a nice and easier on the chest and shoulders. So take whatever range of motion you need here. Make sure those hips stay nice and lifted. For 3, last 2, all the way up, all the way down. 1 more, you got this. Working that chest. Nice job. Let's drop those weights. And we're gonna come onto our belly. This time we're definitely not gonna use weights. We're gonna come onto the toes if it feels okay, knees if you need to. Hands are gonna come down, and we're gonna open it up into a Y shape. Lower and lift. Now, because our body is on an incline, this is a little bit more challenging. That's why we do it without the weights, because I really want you to feel your shoulder blades pull together and down the back as you lift up. Gaze is down at the floor. Lift and lower. Nice job. Rise up and down. Breathing here. Keep it moving. For 3, last 2. This time we're gonna hold that W or that Y up, come into a W, and then Y. Squeeze the elbows towards the side and then lift up. Elbows towards the sky towards the sides, arms up towards the sky, elbows in, reach Y, W, Y. For 3, really making sure that those shoulder blades stay squeezed together here. 2, and 1. Beautiful. Let's come back into our bicep curls, but this time we're gonna come out a little bit more towards the side. So my hands are gonna come a little farther out and in. Doesn't have to be too much of a difference here. Just a slight change in our grip. Let's turn our thumbs up towards the sky and do some hammer curls. We're gonna rise up, same thing here, but now we've just turned our hands towards each other. It's okay for those elbows to be a little farther apart. Up and down. Tap those dumbbells on the shoulders if you got them. Squeeze and lower. You got this. For 3. Last 2. And 1. Beautiful. Let's head back onto our back. And this time, instead of doing tricep extensions, we're gonna go ahead and take our hands, keep them nice and straight. Slight micro bend in the elbows. We never wanna have fully extended arms. We're gonna lower behind us and then lift back up. Option to drop the weights here if you need to. Lower and lift. Maybe take one weight in both hands. We're squeezing up. Now for this, we're working our serratus anterior. We're working the muscles in between our rib cage. So you're gonna get that nice definition around that rib cage in the back of the body and towards the side, giving you a nice little narrow waist. Lift up and lower. You got this. Keep those hips nice and lifted. For 3, last 2, and 1. Beautiful. Let's bring our arms up. This time we're gonna go ahead and take our elbows out nice and wide, 90 degrees. Elbows come together and out. Pinkies towards each other, and then palms up towards the sky. Draw those pinkies in. Draw those elbows towards each other. Nice job. Lift and down. For 3. Last 2. And 1, really drive those pinkies towards each other, draw those elbows towards each other, and then let's go ahead, drop our weights down. We are not going to need them for the rest of our class. But if you'd like them for this next one, you are totally welcome to. So for this next one, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna sit on our booty, but we're gonna roll out until that low back is on the mat and you feel that belly engage. We're gonna take the hands behind the back, lower down, and lift up into a crunch. Lower and lift. Now if you wanna have weights, you can take them in front of your chest. Lower and lift. Squeeze that tummy as you rise up. You got it. Lower and lift. Try to keep those elbows out towards the sky, out towards the sides. I'm tired. Losing words. Lift and lower. Working our whole body. You guys are doing great. This time we're going to take a little twist. So we're going to rise up. Other hand towards the opposite knee. Lift up. Twist. Lower. Twist. Nice job. You got this. Keep breathing here, guys. This is all we have left. We're crunching it out. Nice deep breath. Rise up. Perfect. Now through the center. Let's lift the arms up overhead. Lift up and lower. You got this. This is the burnout for our abs. Last 5. Last 4. Really squeeze that belly in as you rise up. And 1. Beautiful. You guys did awesome. Make sure you stretch. Make sure you hydrate. My name is Valerie. Thanks for joining me. I'll see you next time.